You're live.
A little more bourbon, please.
Oh, yes. Hold on. All right. Now we're ready.
The story of the big snake. Well, there I was. When was this? 1961 or something? 63 or 4. I was 16, I think, or 15, somewhere in there.
So you mean more like 1950, right?
And I had this idea that I might be a biologist. I was thinking along the lines of science and so on. Anyway, the reason I was thinking that at that particular point in time, more so than the physics that I ended up thinking more seriously about, was that there was this bayou behind our house, or a piece of a bayou, which meant that it had water in it. It was maybe at most a foot and a half deep, about 20 feet across. It was full of snakes and frogs and snapping turtles and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a little jungle, sort of. And some fish, not much. And I'd gotten into getting back in there to look at things. And I was, on this particular day, particularly interested in ducks, because I understood that the ducks kept the mosquitoes down, and I was curious about how the duck babies did in this environment, because it was all full of growth. I mean, trees and willow trees mostly, and weeds and so on. It was dense. It was kind of jungle-like. So, in order to deal with the jungle aspect, I had a machete. A nice big machete, and my Uncle Bassett showed me how to sharpen it, and I had got it very sharp because in order to get back into this thing where I wanted to go, there was this big willow tree that had blown down, big old ancient willow tree that had blown down somewhere in a storm. And I knew it was back in there. You couldn't see it because of all the growth, but I knew that if I could get to it, I could get up on it and then look down into the jungleness below and hopefully see the baby ducks and the mama ducks and, you know, what they were doing. So that's what I had in my mind. And I had my machete, and the particular spot where I was trying to get to, water was maybe, I don't know, 6-8 inches deep. So that wasn't really the problem. The problem was all these thousands of little tiny willow trees. I guess from the seeds from this big, humongous willow that had, as I say, fallen down. And there were, thousands of them. So
right.
They were maybe not even as big around as my little finger.
It's kind of like bamboo.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
And just, I don't know, they went up 15 feet or whatever. So,
how far were you trying to go?
Oh, not far, probably 30 feet.
Oh.
But it was like this, you know.
Yeah, you could
sort of push your way through it. But, you're kind of trapped, and should you step on a big snake or something, you can't exactly get out of the way.
Well, so how far in the bayou were you at this point?
Was this into the bayou?
Yeah.
Starting? I'm right on the edge of it.
Oh, so you're right on the edge. You're not really going very far. Oh, okay.
Because our yard backed right up to it, and of course, my job was to cut the grass and all that business.
Okay.
But then there was the jungle, or the bayou. So there I was, machete in hand, 16 years old,
right,
and preparing to enter the deep regions of the big snake. Now I knew there were big snakes in there. These are cottonmouths. They are pit vipers. They're poisonous. They're dangerous. But I also knew we were in the woods a lot. We hunted, we fished, and so on and so forth. I was pretty good wood skill-wise. I knew that if you stomped, actually my granddaddy had taught me this with rattlesnakes in the desert. That's a whole different story. The snakes have this tympanic membrane. They don't have an ear exactly, and they pick up vibrations. Why would they do that? Because they don't want to be stepped on by a horse or a bison or whatever. So they're adapted, presumably, to get out of your way as long as you do. Which is another reason for cutting your way through the willow brake, because if you're stuck in you can't exactly do this. So the idea is you go stomp, swish, cut, stomp, swish, cut, and you work your way kind of gradually. And then the cottonmouth snakes, and there were a lot of them in there. I mean, I'd seen them many times. This long, whatever. Biggest one I'd ever seen, most of them were smaller, size of your thumb, a couple fingers maybe. The biggest one I'd ever seen, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 of these cigars put together max. And what I didn't know at that time was that a very old snake loses its hearing. They don't do the, oh, shit, there's a big, heavy something coming my way. Maybe I better get out of the way before I get stomped.
The tympanic membrane degrades.
Deteriorates. I mean, it's like old humans. I don't hear very well
just
either.
like you.
Yeah, just like me. I didn't know that.
And me.
Yeah. I didn't know that. So you're getting old. I told you.
Well, every day.
Anyway, so there I was, working my way through the willow brake. As I said, swish, cut. Now, the machete has to be really sharp to do this, right? I mean, you're cutting right through. If it's dull, it won't work. They'll just bend. It's very annoying. So you have to go, really, you have to hit it really hard. And then a back cut. And you're taking a step each time, or whatever it is. You're stomping. Okay, so I'm doing all this. I'm working my way through the willows, and they're all falling, and they're getting in the way, and so on and so forth. And I'm kind of pushing them out of the way, and not too many mosquitoes, thanks to the ducks. Unlike here, where we
don't have any ducks.
Enough ducks, I guess, or whatever it is. And so I'm working my way along, and I got back in there maybe 15, 20 feet, and I could see through the willows, great thingies, this limb sticking up, which is, I knew I was getting close to the big tree. So, aha, good, it's still there. This is all working. And just as I got to the limb, I don't know, it was kind of like my arm, sort of bigger. No leaves. This is a dead tree, so it's all stripped of its leaves.
This is part of the big willow that you're trying to get to.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of about nose level.
Right.
And my what I was going to do, I knew it was there, so I was going to, get a hold of it like this and just haul myself up and get on top of the trunk, which the limb stuck out of, and walk up and down the trunk and just see what I could see. Because the tree, when it fell over like that, cleared a path. So now you don't have to deal with, because you're on top of this thing. It's like almost like a pathway. It's big. It's just big around. So the limb's like this. And let me get this phone real quick. This, Steve? Yeah. Okay.
Now we can, we've had a little break here. Okay, well now where were we in the story? Oh yes, the limb.
So I had just spotted the branch, the limb.
Right. The nose level.
I could see it. Now, I wasn't to it yet. Okay, there was still stuff in the way, but I could see it.
You're still... Okay.
So there it is. I can see it. Okay, good. I'm getting there. Good. I wasn't exactly sure if I was heading in the right direction or not. It was all about that moment. So my mind is not on, well, wait a minute, what about snakes? My mind is on, oh, here we go. I'm getting there. Swish. The last cut back this way cleared the way. So now the branch is, I don't know, maybe this far from my nose, something like that, roughly. And my arm is back. I'm balanced on my left foot, and I'm just starting to relax when suddenly I notice that lying on top of that limb is a very big, biggest I've ever seen. May I use a little redneck here? Motherfucking big, mean-looking snake. Well, about that moment, I'm going, wait a minute, why is he, she, it still there when it coils? Now, when these guys coil, it's not like they go, "Oh, this is a leisurely matter. I will just simply coil up." No, no, no. It's. But in those moments, your mind slows everything down. This is really good. I've only experienced this a few times in my life, but this is the first time I've ever experienced it. Everything, and I watched this snake coil. It all took less than a second, but it seemed like, I don't know. And I realized that it was opening its mouth and lunging at me with the two hypodermic needle fangs. This is the way it works. Their mouth opens. Head was about as big as my hand. Mouth open like this. Fangs.
And the things like they flip down or something.
Well, they pop up.
They pop up. Okay.
Yeah, they're folded back.
Okay.
Snake opens mouth. That's the way they get their prey. They stab.
Huh.
And this thing is coming at my face.
Right.
And the mouth is pearly, ghostly white. Why they're called cottonmouths. Well, in that moment, adrenaline kicks in. Rush! The head comes off the snake, sliced through by the razor-sharp machete, and falls to my feet. And the snake's body falls. Writhe, writhe, writhe. Boom! Oh my God! Oh my God! And then I go, I'll be damned. I killed the snake. You know that movie Tom Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow? You know that
Is that
movie?
the one that repeats, repeat?
So
Yeah.
he finally gets his guns to work and he kills this, whatever they call him,
Alien thing.
And he's going, I did it. Well, it was like that. He's like, I did it. So I grabbed up this snake, body, blood everywhere, gore and so on, and I ran back up the hill to the house, to the back door. Now, my mother is culturally from the deep south, Texas, cotton country, northeast Texas. Delta. Now, people don't think of Texas as being Delta, but the very top left end of the Red River from the Mississippi is Shreveport, where we lived, and then a little further, that's still Delta, deep south cotton, that culture. Those women were raised, you don't ever use scatological or negative or language that God wouldn't like. So I run up with this snake and blood all over me. You got to get this picture in your mind. I mean, this is really gory, but I'm excited, right? Damn, I've survived. I've done it. And I ran up, bang, 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 bang. She opens the door. She says, "What the hell is that?" This is a snake. I killed it. I'm going to stretch it and nail it on. Like hell you will. Take that damn thing and bury it. Only time I ever in my life heard her talk like that.
So did you went and you buried it?
I was a dutiful Southern boy. I followed directions. I did what Mama told me to do. I went and buried it after I skinned it. And I did cure the skin, but not where she could see it. I realized that I needed to be a little more circumspect. And that's the story of the big snake.
Bravo.
Thank you.
And the poem is called "The Ever Chamber."
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I'm 100% sure that you told me when I talked to you when I was doing the research that it was a copperhead. Now, there
weren't any copperheads.
and that doesn't make any sense. So I guess I just screwed that up.
Copperheads don't lack water.
Yeah. And in the poem, I remember I think you used to tell it that you were going deeper. You know what? I think just being a kid, I just translate it all into you being way back into the deep dark, which you sort of said, but it's 30 feet in.
Well,
but I remember, but the detail that I really remember is different. Is that when you chopped the head off the snake, you then chopped it.
That's right. No,
yeah,
I did.
Yeah. So you had so you had that makes more sense.
Well, because adrenaline and I don't know.
Yeah, well, you weren't sure it was dead. I mean,
it was writhing. Yeah, I mean, this all happened very fast, so you don't.
Yeah.
Did I actually remove the head? Well, I'm not so sure. Maybe I better finish the job. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that part.
Well, that's the story of the big snake.